and welcome back to the channel. This time around I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm using a different microphone for a start, which has a soundboard so I can do things like this. And I am also doing a little bit of a review for the next Halloween. So here's basically what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be showing you the things that you need to watch for next Halloween. You can pick them up cheaper. You can pick them up cheaper because you can do all of those Black Friday sales and all that kind of thing. And so I thought I'd get a few box sets of horror movies that you're going to want to see and put them all together and just show them and tell you why you need to see them. So let's get started with the elephant in the room. The one you should definitely have, the Primo collection of movies. If you're a horror movie fan and if you want to kind of jive on them in Halloween. Universal Monsters, the Essential Collection. You need to have this one in your collection. And they're going pretty cheap. I think they've put out a 4K one now. But if you don't have 4K and you don't have Blu-ray, I'm sure you can still get them on DVD. Now there are the movies there. You've got Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Invisible Man, The Bride of Frankenstein, The Wolfman, Phantom of the Opera, and Creature from the Black Lagoon. Now, I've got Creature from the Black Lagoon a few times. I've got the 3 movies set and I've got this one. But this one comes with a whole bunch of bonuses. It's got a whole bunch of lobby cards and things. It's got a little bit of a booklet about the movies as well. But that one has to be in your collection if you're a horror movie fan at all. And you can dive into it repeatedly. My one's a few years old now. So the box is a little bit manky from normal wear and tear, but I don't particularly mind that. I'm not going to resell it and I'm not going to upgrade it. I don't think I'd necessarily need the 4K versions of these. The Blu-rays are really well done. The transfers are crisp and the extras are on point. So that's the first one. You really need to have that one in your collection and you can find it quite cheaply if you hunt around. Now I don't know if you're going to be able to find these ones, but you kind of need to have them in your collection as well. I know a lot of people who watch the channel are really, really, really big Hammer horror fans. And I've got a little bit of an overlap in these ones, but I like having the different box sets. This one was put out by Studio Canal, and it's called Hammer Horror Resurrected, with Christopher Lee as Rasputin, the Mad Monk on the front. Quite a thick box. Let me have a look on the inside. I haven't looked on the inside of this one since, I don't know, Obama was president, so we'll see how we go. Yep, it's got a, let me see what it's got in here. I'm kind of breaking this apart now. Yeah, it's, all of the discs are kind of like this in there with pictures on the back, but yeah, I'm putting that back together because it's a bloody disaster to take apart. But the movies you got anyway: Rasputin the Mad Monk. You've got Plague of the Zombies, which is one of my favourite Hammer horror films, with Andre Morel. Frankenstein Created Woman, Quatermass and the Pit, The Vengeance of She, it doesn't have She on it, but it has The Vengeance of She, and the last of the original Hammer horror films, To the Devil a Daughter, with Christopher Lee, Richard Widmark, and Nastasia Kinski in it. It's a little bit chunky, but I like having that one in my collection. It was a British one from Studio Canal. It is just DVD, but I don't particularly care. My TV and my video player upscale the image a little bit in ways that aren't kind of intrusive, and yeah, it's a good one to have in the collection. And I've got a couple of other Hammer ones here. This one's since been re-released by Imprint, or at least some of the movies have. And I said when I did the Karnstein trilogy that I didn't have Twins of Evil, and now I've found a box set where I have Twins of Evil. This one's called Hammer Horror Collection, which is an imaginative title if you ask me. Vampire Circus, Hands of the Ripper, and Twins of Evil on DVD, not Blu-ray. I think it was made by a small company. What's the company called? MRAentertainment.com. There are really no extras on it, but I kind of like the cover, and I think it covers the 3 movies quite well. If you want extras for some of these films, I'm sure you can get copies of them with extras, but I think that any number of the Hammer horror reference books, which aren't too difficult to find, she would cover them for you. You really will have no trouble with that at all. But those three together, I think I got that very, very cheaply as well, which I'm quite happy about. And then there's the franchise collection, the Hammer Horror series, which is this one, which has Brides of Dracula, The Curse of the Werewolf, Phantom of the Opera, Paranoid, which has Oliver Reed in it, The Kiss of the Vampire, Nightmare, Night Creatures, and The Evil of Frankenstein. Quite a lot of them in that one for a fairly small box set. I'm not taking that one apart either. There's the back cover. And yeah, it's a solid collection. The discs are double-sided, which is a very old school thing. It is DVD, but again, I'm looking at the budget end of things and finding things that people who can't spend a fortune on the latest versions of things can enjoy for a Halloween or even any time of year. Halloween can be every time of the year. Sally, my wife, the middle-aged geek girl, says that Halloween is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365.25 a year. And we've got a skeleton that sits at our dining table all the time. So if you're in the Halloween kind of headspace, just roll with it. Enjoy it whenever you like. It doesn't just have to be for the end of October. So while we're on the budget end of things, you can find these things on Amazon and also on eBay quite cheaply. These crazy old 4-movie box sets. And this one's got The Amazing Transparent Man, Reptilicus, which is, I think, a Danish giant monster movie. The Neanderthal Man, and The Brain That Wouldn't Die. The Brain That Wouldn't Die is worth the price of this one anyway. Absolutely no extras in them. They're not necessarily the best prints, but they're watchable. They're very, very watchable. And if you want to kind of just go into drive-in era or movie horror host era movies, you can do a lot worse than this one. And The Brain That Wouldn't Die, I think, is the restored version, which has, oddly enough, what they call the continental version of it, which has a bit of female nudity in it, which is a little bit surprising for a movie made in the early 1960s. But it's there for those of you who have a prurient interest in
busty substances.
Then we'll move on to the rival of Hammer, of course, the Amicus collection. Picked this one up in the UK in 2004. Coffin-shaped box, you got to love it. It's got Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, which I also have on Blu-ray because, yeah, why not use up every inch of space in your house? The House That Dripped Blood, and Now the Screaming Starts, The Beast Must Die, and Asylum. So, pretty damn good collection. I've actually got The Beast Must Die on Blu-ray as well. That happens occasionally when you do get the box sets. I'm not going to fold this one out because it's another one of those accordion kind of things where everything folds together. And it's a pain in the ass to put it all back together. But yeah, it's kind of a sweet little twee thing. This is the Anchor Bay one. It's the American Anchor Bay release of that, which for some reason I did get in England rather than America. So, you know, go figure. But that one is a lot of fun as well, and you really should try to pick up those movies if you can't pick up the box itself. And any other Amicus films you can find. Amicus was just such an interesting studio, which, yeah, chased the tail of Hammer a little bit, kind of in the same way that DC chases the tail of Marvel. But there's still a lot of worthy stuff in there, and you get to see some interesting acting roles by a number of really good English actors of the era. Now, there are any number of William Castle box sets, but I thought I'd bring this one out. 2 films, William Castle double feature, Homicidal and Mr. Sardonicus. I know there's a new release of Mr. Sardonicus, but this one's Blu-ray, but it's a bare bones one. Not too much extra there, but if you want to dive into William Castle and you've watched The Tingler 87 times, this one's a pretty good one to get. Homicidal and Mr. Sardonicus. Yeah, it's got the usual William Castle tropes about it. All the stuff that we love about the guy and the way he presented film. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking. I keep getting Homicidal and the other one that's like that. What's it called? Macabre. So I keep getting Macabre and Homicidal mixed up. But Homicidal I like a lot more than I like Macabre. And you should have that box set as well. Let's see, I've got a few more things now. We're going to go to the bottom of the barrel, the really lowest of the low. these ones keep turning up in thrift stores in Australia because there were tons and tons of them put out at the time, and they some of them are no better than kind of VHS transcriptions, but you pay for what you get. Horror 10 movie pack. Now this one's got Dark Eyes of London with Bela Lugosi, Mommy and Mommy 2 with Paddy McCormack, which is kind of playing on her role in The Bad Seed, Bowery at Midnight, which I think is Hans Hall and Leo Gorcey joint, Christina's House with John Savage, The Corpse Vanishes with Bela Lugosi, The Invisible Ghost, Bela Lugosi, Fangs with Corbin Burnson and Tracy Nelson, White Zombie, which is on every one of these things, and Hell House, which doesn't have anybody famous in it. And if you just want to watch the movie, you can't be bothered finding a copy of it on YouTube. These box sets, they're kind of feeling a bit retro now because they're budget ones. This one says Dollar DVD Proprietary Limited, which shows you the kind of market they were going for. They sold a lot of them at $2 shops, which are kind of really deep discount stores for a while there when those stores were carrying DVDs and Blu-rays, and they always had a whole bunch of DVDs and Blu-rays that were public domain films. So you'd find Detour and movies like that in there, and lots and lots of copies of Charade, the Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn movie. But bit of fun and quite light stuff, and there are any number of them on eBay. Second last one, I haven't watched all of these yet. I've watched two of them, but I haven't watched the third one. And it is Blood Hunger, the films of Jose Larraz, which is a box set that Arrow Video put out about a year and a half ago, which has Whirlpool from 1970, which is a very creepy film. With all of these films have a lot of kind of sexual content and titillation in them. Now, Whirlpool, it's a bit hard to describe it. It's a country home, and people go to stay with someone at a country home. There's a creepy guy, there's a beautiful woman, there's an older woman who says that she's his aunt. It's a really weird film and slightly unusual for a number of reasons, most of which is to do with nudity for women who aren't 25 years old. Then from 1974 we have Vampires. I'll actually show you the boxes themselves. There's Whirlpool, and it's got a lot of extras. There are a lot of extras on these Arrow ones. It's called a special edition, and you can see down there are a ton of extras there. And that cover kind of tells you everything you need to know about the movie. And yes, there's no nudity there, so I'm safe with it. Let's see, there's Vampires, which is about lesbian vampires, oddly enough. Which was from 1974. That one I saw in the cinema, and I was quite impressed with it for all of the wrong reasons at the time. There's the back cover and the extras. And the thing... Welcome to the party, pal! I just hit the button for the soundboard. And the next one is The Coming of Sin, which is kind of a horror movie in various kinds of ways. There's the really odd cover of it. There's the really odd back cover of it. Lots of extras there. That's the one I haven't watched yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the hell's on that. And the last one is one that you're definitely going to want to have in your collection. You definitely want to drop into. Again, it's from Arrow Video. 6 Gothic Tales by Edgar Allan Poe, all starring Vincent Price. Now, these ones are Fall of the House of Usher, The Pit and the Pendulum, Tales of Terror, The Raven, The Haunted Palace, and Tomb of Ligeia. All of those really groovy Roger Corman, Edgar Allan Poe joints that had Vincent Price in them. Really nice transcriptions of them as well. And I've got a cat here. Anything can happen in the next half hour. There she is. There's Luna. She got put into cat prison while we were in Sydney over the last few days. And so she's acting up a little bit. But the Edgar Allan Poe box set is just such... there's nothing else you need there. It's got all of the movies, a lot of extras on each one, and Arrow always put together a really solid package when they do their box sets or even their individual movies. So the whole bunch of movies you should watch for next Halloween. I'm sure there are going to be a whole bunch of other ones, and there are going to be movies that come out between now and then that are going to have to be on everyone's watch list. There are things I want to see that I haven't seen yet, like Men, and a few other movies I have seen. Nope, which I really recommend. But yeah, the horror movies are having a big resurgence right at the moment. Maybe it's the pandemic and the fears related to that are messing us around. Maybe it's not, but either way, it's yeah, it's a good time to be a horror movie fan. And this Halloween, people have really embraced that and rolled with it, and really kind of shared the stuff that they like watching on the social medias as well. I said the social medias, I shouldn't have said that, but on social media as well. So yeah, it's I didn't watch as many horror movies as I wanted to this year, because we went to Sydney for my sister and brother-in-law's joint 50th birthday party, hung out with the family, and had a really great time for 4 days, in which we did 22 hours of driving. But either way, I had a little break. I'm back refreshed. Got more things planned for later in the week, so that's always going to be a good thing. And I've got to tell you the funny thing that happened while we were away at the sister and brother-in-law's. My niece Lizzie brought her baby, Jamie, who is about 18 months old. And Jamie's wandering around and playing with cars, doing all the things little kids do. And there was also my sister and brother-in-law, Linda and Gavin's new baby, which is a 6-month-old setter dog called Hunter. Now, we had a bit of a problem one evening while we were all sitting around. We'd just eaten dinner. We were all just chatting and shooting the shit and catching up. And Jamie's wandering around, Hunter's wandering around, and Hunter has this weird thing. Even though he's been de-sexed, he likes to make passionate love to the couch cushions. So Hunter starts going hammer and tongs on the couch cushions, and then spots Jamie. So we've got to wrangle a baby, and of course they don't want the baby to see the dog screwing couch cushions. So we had this comedy of errors of trying to wrangle the dog, trying to wrangle an 18-month-old baby, while the dog is in the throes of passion, and it just got incredibly crazy with people running around, keeping the dog there, hiding the dog from the baby. Baby wants to run around and play with the dog because they bonded really nicely. Crazy chaos, but it was a really, really, really fun weekend to have. And on that note of dogs and cushions and babies, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. You can also support the channel by donating monthly at patreon.com/paleocinema. Got some things for later in the week that are going to be a lot of fun as well, so I'm looking forward to that. And on that note, look after yourselves, stay safe, don't eat all of your Halloween candy at once. Watch some good movies, watch some bad movies. Watch a lot of horror movies and then dig around for the next year and just see what you can find on physical media. There's a lot of cheap stuff out there now. People are upgrading, and you're going to have a good time and pick up some good stuff if you just take that effort to look around and see what's there. So until next time, I'll catch you later.